really hate this story, but here goes. I was about 14 or 15 years old and was visiting my family near Waco, Texas. They lived in this block with rundown homes, one of which was boarded up and had been empty for at least 10 years, from what they told me. We took flashlights and broke into the house one afternoon because we were bored. The place was nasty as hell. Tons of cobwebs, walls marked up and falling into pieces, and some of the previous owner's furniture and belongings still there. We went down the hallway to the bedrooms to look in. There was a nasty stain on the carpet in what looked like the main bedroom. That freaked the two cousins out, so they left. 3 of us left. We wandered to the kids' room, and my older cousin told us the dumb, obvious fake story about the man who lived there, who killed his whole family with a butcher knife, strung their bodies all over the place, then killed himself in this weird satanic ritual. We weren't buying it, but we were also getting nervous as hell, because it felt like we were being watched. By that point, I wanted to leave. I didn't have a flashlight. I begged my cousin to at least light the way to the window we came through, but she refused. I was adamant I was getting out. They were on the other end of the hallway, but I swear I heard someone walking behind me, dragging their feet on the carpet. Something pulled my hair, and I yelled. That scared my other cousin, who came running. She didn't have a flashlight either. The older cousin was by herself in the hallway. She suddenly screamed and came running after us, and I remember her hitting against the wall like she tripped. Later she said she'd seen a man in an open doorway where the stain had been, that he'd made a move toward her when she ran. She said something had yanked her hair violently, and that was when she collided with the wall briefly. So she also said she heard a man growling behind her. I didn't want to believe her, but her story hasn't changed in years since. And she always gets pale and shaky when she talks about it. Years later, another cousin went in there, and she swears she heard a man and woman screaming, but there was no one in the house. Shortly after the place got bulldozed, I kind of wonder if anything spooky happens at whatever got built there. When I was homeless, I lived in a few different squats over the years. Abandoned houses or businesses. Some of them were really creepy. There was one right in the middle of the city. It was a huge place that used to be a store. We all used to live in it. It had a very weird vibe, and people would talk about this place that it had the Oogie Boogie. People would run out screaming. Everyone had stories. People would end up missing from this house, and sometimes you would hear screaming before you go in the door, and then no one was there once you got inside. Anyway, one night there was a group of young people in there, just smoking, and I was in my corner doing my own thing, sorting my space, and these people started calling on the ghost or spirit or whatever. Well, things started to get weird straight away. Noises started happening, like things being chucked around and heavy footsteps. So these people freaked out, and all of them ran out, like screaming and laughing, and I was left in there to squat by myself. Immediately, I felt some huge presence behind me, like it was looking down at me, asking me about, why are you not running away? And I just started to cry, and I said out loud, I'm so sorry. I am homeless. I have nowhere else to go. I'm so sorry I'm in your space, but I have no one. Next minute, the feeling of the presence lightened. I felt it was there, but it was no longer a scary feeling. It was like it felt sorry for me. There was a huge crash from another room, and I looked around, but nothing. When I looked back down at my bed, there had apparently been a little scruffy old kangaroo teddy bear. I felt so safe that I cuddled it and went straight to sleep. From that day on, when people would come in and get tormented with this, whatever it was, I would like giggle and feel this thing was doing it almost for my entertainment, because the feeling for me, at least, was now super lighthearted, and it was like I was having a little private joke with it. The building ended up being demolished a few months later, and I got housing, but I will never forget that whatever took pity on my situation, that I couldn't run away like everyone else, I will never forget it. My mom, brother, and I were staying at my grandmother's house. I woke up in the middle of the night on the floor and heard the door slam. All of us were staying in the same room, so we all woke up. We all have had some experiences here in the past, so we knew it was some spirit. I got up and went back to bed. My mom was mad, so she put a heavy suitcase in front of the door before going to bed. Later on in the night, my brother's on the floor, and the suitcase is knocked over, and the slam of the door woke us up all again. My mom was even more mad and got up and started to speed walk out of the room and yelled at this ghost essentially. I went and followed her. When we got to the living room, we both saw a really dark black mist crawling on the ceiling. I was terrified, and my mom's anger turned into fear. She calmly asked if it could please stop because we'll be leaving in the next couple of days. We both headed back to our room and put all three of our suitcases up against the door. We tried to go back to sleep, but I was just having a really hard time because I knew that my mom and grandma had seen this black mass beforehand, but I haven't. It was dark in the living room already, but this was so much darker than the dark. It was just the most scary thing I have ever seen. After that, we were all sleeping on the same bed. I was trying to go to bed, and then I saw the black mist swirling above us on the ceiling. I didn't say anything and turned towards my mom with a blanket above my head. I didn't sleep much that night. Apparently, a couple of months later, my grandma and grandpa were watching TV, and they saw the same black mass actually in the form of a man, just standing there. My grandma just asked my grandpa if he was seeing what she was seeing, and he replied, "Yep." I don't tell this story much because people think we are all crazy. My dad has to back us up whenever we tell experiences at the house because he definitely was a skeptic before visiting a few times. The thing that made him believe in ghosts was when he was there all alone one day. He heard footsteps walking around the house and called to see if there's anyone there. Nobody was, and ever since then, he believes. So this was fairly soon after I bought my first house. Maybe back like in spring of 2012, I think. I met this guy on Match.com. I don't remember his name now. It was really a long time ago. All I remember about him is that he was a pet toy designer. Random. Anyway, we got on a couple of dates, and I was giving him a tour of my house. Something about me you should understand is that I like to talk. A lot. Anyway, in hindsight, I should have anticipated that he was probably expecting a lot more than that given amount of time that we've been seeing each other, and the fact that he was getting the tour of my place, and the fact that we ended up in my room, but I didn't. It didn't cross my mind at any point, as evidenced by the fact that I kept running my mouth about whatever the F I was talking about. So as we were sitting on my bed, and all of a sudden, I just felt this really effing sudden shift in energy from him. I felt like I was in danger, like that he meant to do me harm. All of a sudden, things felt very sinister. I felt like he was about to hurt me. I froze. I didn't know what to do, but I did know that I had solid reason to be afraid, even if I didn't know why. Right at this exact moment, multiple things happened at once. One of my cats ran from out of my bed, with her tail bushed up and hissing, and then she ran out of the room. A massive gust of wind blew through the open windows, and a bunch of papers flew off my dresser. A loud bang came from downstairs, followed by the sound of heavy footsteps running up the stairs in my house, making their way around the landing and stopping at my bedroom door, which was open, but nobody was there. At this point, the guy jumped off the bed and looking around like, WTF, WTF. And to be honest, I was feeling the same exact thing. He yelled something about me having some kind of bad energy or some S and booked it out of my house. I never saw him or even heard from him again. I still have no idea what the F anything of that was, but big ups to my house ghost for being a real one. I was a rookie cop when my brother committed suicide. He was one of my older siblings, but we were very close. He died in another state, and I had a lot of guilt then about not recognizing the signs. His remains were in bad shape by the time he was discovered, so was a closed coffin service. About a week after he died, I was back to work one night, and my partner and I see a pimp pistol whipping one of his girls. I jump out, and the pimp sees me, and the foot chase was on. I was running after him, gun in hand, and he cuts through a narrow corridor under a building that leads to a courtyard in the middle. Right before I reach the courtyard, I hear, "It's okay," in my dead brother's voice. I hit the courtyard and the guy is against the side, pointing a gun at my head, and squeezes the trigger twice. I froze for a millisecond, and then started beating him in the head with my revolver. To this day, I don't know why I didn't just shoot him, cuff him, and walk him back to the street and find my partner. I tell my partner about him squeezing the trigger, but not the voice I heard. We unload the gun, a .32 revolver, right there, and 2 bullets have strike marks on them. Take the gun to lab testing, tell the tech the story. He puts the 2 bullets with strike marks back in and shoots the test tank. Both bullets fired.